Well, it's a pleasure to welcome Nigel Parkinson to the Gerry Anderson Podcast.
Thank you. It's very nice to be here.
Now, it's interesting. Illustrator, cartoonist, artist?
I'd say cartoonist. I think you get the measure of you if you say cartoonist. Illustrator or artist, that's not really my thing. I'm a cartoonist. Yeah.
What's the difference then?
No, there's no difference.
But to anyone who's glanced even at a comic over the last
44 years, I'd say.
They'd certainly be familiar with your work. Latterly with the Beano, but even that is, 20 years or so, isn't it?
26 years with the Beano.
Crikey.
It creeps up on you.
Yeah,
you know.
doesn't it just?
Yeah, I've worked for a lot of comics over the years. I started on a girls' comic. There's no shame in that.
No.
And I worked for lots and lots of comics, including, as we'll find out later, something very pertinent.
Yes, well, this is the Gerry Anderson Podcast, of course. Yeah. So we'll be talking about your work for Thunderbirds, Stingray, and also a discarded Captain Scarlet cover.
Yeah.
But never quite.
Shame.
Yeah,
It's a good one.
It really is a good one. Yeah. But let's go back to the beginning then, if we can.
Okay.
So how on earth did you end up doing what you're doing?
Do you know what? That's a very interesting question. I just always wanted to do it. I never, for a moment, thought that I wouldn't end up doing it.
Really?
So I just did it. And I can't offer any advice to people. I can't explain...
Well, that's those questions gone then.
I can't explain how it's done. I just did it. And it's a bit baffling sometimes because I'm not like the greatest artist and I'm not the most brilliant negotiator with publishers, but somehow it's all worked out fine.
But you must have showed an aptitude as a kid, or
I was always drawing.
Doodling and...
No, I was serious drawing.
Yeah.
My granddad, my mother's father, had been a stonemason in the 1920s, and we lived in his house. And when I was he died just after I was 2. So before that, he encouraged me to draw one day.
Right.
And funny enough, I do have these drawings that I did that day by complete fluke. Yeah.
God.
And I remember him looking at it and saying, "Can I look at that?" And he looks at it and he puts his glasses up. Right?
Yeah.
That's very good. And I thought, I'll do some more then.
Okay, a little bit of validation.
That was it. It was the validation at a very, very young age.
We come across this so often. Either people opening doors just by simply saying, you should do that, or closing them. You can't do that.
Well, I had closed doors throughout the rest of my childhood.
Okay.
But I thought, no, this is what I felt very comfortable doing it. I enjoyed doing it. I got a lot of pleasure out of doing it. And also, by the time I was like 11 or 12, I was making money doing it because a lot of the kids in school would say, "Can you make me a comic?" And I'd make them a comic for 5p or 10p, you know. And there you go.
Amazing. Now, we play a little game at the beginning of our interviews with each of our guests.
I'm dreading this.
Good. It's called Super Identification. I'm going to show you some very quick clips of each one of Gerry's series. There are 18 of them in total.
Each one. So from the start to...
57 to 2006, I think.
Okay.
Like
I might not have seen all of these, but I'll give it a go.
Give a shout out when you see one that you do know, okay?
So I just named the show?
Absolutely. Shout it out when you see it. They are very quick.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, I am. Well, let's twizzle.
Well, I mean, that's a good start. Yep. Second one?
Oh, Torture the Battery Boy. We had a book of that.
Yeah, good.
Four Further Falls.
Yes! Yeah. Wow, you're rocking it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Supercar.
Of course.
I used to love Fireball Extra.
Yeah.
Stingray, of course. The colour version. Well, that's Thunderbirds.
Can only be, can't it?
What else? Yeah, Captain Scarlet.
Mm-hmm. When will you start to struggle, do you think?
After Joe 90. The Secret Service.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, good.
Yeah. UFO, that was a good one.
Wasn't it?
That's The Protectors.
Yeah, a lot of people stumbled on that one.
All right. That must be Space 1999, which I've never seen, by the way.
This is an emergency.
Terrorhawks. I remember the great fuss about that when it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Is that... I don't know, Dick Spanner?
It is.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
This one?
Go on. Space Priest?
Yes.
Lavender Cast?
Yes. Are we in for a full house here, Nigel? There's one more coming up.
I bet I don't get it. Is that Captain Scarlet revamped or
yeah,
whatever?
It is. It exactly.
Well, there we are then. Oh, yay me.
There you go.
Take that, Lisa. One.
New Captain Scarlet, the last one. CGI, imagining.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a full house.
Not bad.
Look at that.
Oh, that's me.
That's
18.
you. You'll be up that end of the table next time when I get the blue tack out. Great. Okay, so Gerry Anderson obviously made quite a mark on you.
It did. You know, in the olden times, you people won't remember this, you're far too young, but in the olden times, there were only 2 channels on TV.
I remember it well, yeah.
And so you had to watch what was on. But we made an appointment to view anything that had Gerry Anderson or Gerry and Sylvia Anderson, which it sometimes had.
Oh, yeah.
And particularly for me, it was Fireball XL5 was the first one that really grabbed me. And
right.
I thought, I've got to watch this next week.
Yes.
As well.
Okay, well, that leads us into your first Anderson memory, which you very kindly shared with me via email. So let's have a look at this rather scary moment from Fireball XL5.
Oh, I'm glad you found it.
Here we go.
He will be useful for the
that voice.
Sends shivers down the spine, doesn't it?
Push him over the side into the furnace conveyor belt.
Over you go.
Take XL5 and grow to earth.
Gerry Anderson voicing that.
Oh, you see what I mean? It's nail biting. That's it. That's what I remember.
Really?
That.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Will he make it?
Oh. So he did make it.
He did make it.
Oh, thank
Thanks
goodness.
to fight another day.
I had to look away.
Yeah,
You see, in the olden days.
I'm sure. Robert to the rescue, I think. Fireball XL5. I can see why that made such an impression on you. It's terrifying.
It really is. And the thing that I've only just realised now is that it's got that blank background.
Yeah.
Like, nothing's got...
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's happening
Yeah.
is that thing.
That's right.
And that weird voice, you know.
Yes.
The whole thing was just very, very worrying. And I must have been about 4, I think 3 or 4.
Perfect.
And I was really grabbed by that.
Yeah.
And then I think they repeated Supercar soon after that in Granada Land.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought, this is the same kind of thing.
Ah.
So I'll have a bit of that as well.
Gosh.
So I was primed ready for when Stingray started, which became my favourite.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were aware then of this, the link between these shows at quite an early age.
Because a lot of the other things that were on at the time were things like the Wooden Tops, which was also puppetry, but not supermarionation.
Rather twee, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
And I think they only made about 26 of them and then repeated them again and again and again. The Gerry Anderson stuff, he didn't see very often. It wasn't like today where you can track it down whenever you want.
Yeah.
You had to wait till it was on TV. You know? And sometimes they'd put it on like at 9 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be at school. You couldn't do it.
Right,
you know?
that's it. No videos.
No, and so you'd miss it. And, in fact, I've got a very sad story about Thunderbirds to tell you later when we get chronologically up to Thunderbirds.
Yeah, good. Yeah, fine. But we've spoken with other guests on the podcast about depictions of danger, but in a safe place. So watching that rather terrifying footage of Robert the Robot being drawn relentlessly into the furnace. But it's kind of contained within the confines of a TV series. Did you feel that, or
the thing that I felt was that if it had been, say, Professor Matic or Venus, that would have been more terrifying.
Yes.
And I might not have been able to handle that.
Yes, I see.
But because it was a robot, well, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, well, it's odd, isn't it? There was something about the see-through quality of his limbs that I found very unnerving.
And of course, Gerry doing the voice, which was otherworldly at the time. The whole thing was just, it was, I don't want to say cosy, but it was a very warm show. You know? And in fact, Stingray was a lot warmer than Fireball because Troy didn't kill quite as many other alien races as Steve did. But,
that's right.
there was a bit of friendliness to it. You
Yeah.
felt you were with friends,
Yeah.
which was nice.
Yeah. So you find yourself making money from drawing, aged 11, 12, selling comics to your school friends. What was the journey then into your first professional job? Was it a circuitous route, or did
It
you?
was just seamless. I just drew every day. I still draw every day. And
Draw what every day?
anything.
Really?
But now I'm drawing, professional
Yeah.
stuff and have done.
Yeah.
But if you like drawing, folks, draw.
Yeah.
That's my advice,
Yeah.
because it's you don't get better by not doing it. And you don't know what you can achieve unless you have a go.
Yeah.
So I was drawing every day and being asked to do things. And I got to be, I think I was 15, and there was an advert in the Sunday Post. And someone brought it into school and said, look, the Beano and Dandy are looking for cartoonists, So I said, I'll apply for that. Now, I didn't tell them I was only 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So they wrote back saying, you're not quite good enough.
Uh-huh.
I thought, I should have said. They might have said, well,
Yeah.
maybe we'll see in a...
That's right.
But at the same time, around about the same time, through some fluke, someone at IPC magazines in London, John Sanders, had been shown my stuff. And he said, come in and we'll talk about what you're going to do after you've left school. And I thought, that's it. I don't have to think about anything. I can just go there,
Yeah.
just walk into this job. Well,
Yeah.
it didn't quite work out like
Okay.
that. But I refused to believe that it wouldn't end up like that.
Yeah.
And so I just pressed on for it. And I've given it lots of thought over the years. Why did I carry on? Because I've got letters from publishers and editors saying, don't bother trying to be a cartoonist in comics because A, you don't get paid much. B, it's not a very nice job. A lot of people think it's, a bit of a reprobate if you're drawing for comics.
Yeah.
It's comics, it's for kids. Why would you want to do that? Why don't you get a proper job? And these were from publishers and
Wow.
editors. This wasn't from the general public.
God. Great.
So I was... but I wasn't put off because
Yeah.
I know what I want to do. I
Yeah.
want to do that. We had great comics in the 60s called Wham and Smash and TV21, and I just thought, well, this is what I want to do. I want the kids of the future to be reading stuff that I've done, which has the same effect on me that the people that I'm reading now.
Yes,
so
yes.
I just pressed on and did it, and just sheer persistence. I would just persist.
Yeah.
I would just ask. In those days, we used to write letters and occasionally make a phone call
Yeah.
if you were feeling brave enough.
Yeah.
And so I would just do that. And eventually I picked up one or two little jobs. And by 1980, the same week, I got a job from DC Thompson for a girls' comic and a job from IPC magazines for another girls' comic. So I was in.
Yeah, absolutely. Extraordinary. I've got a picture that... this is how you came to my attention, and I thought you might be a great guest on the podcast. Because, someone flagged this up on our Facebook group that you had posted a very early drawing of yours. Let's have a look at this.
This isn't how I draw now, folks.
So, talk us through this, Nigel. How old are you here?
Well, that was the day the second episode of Thunderbirds was shown in Granada. So I reckon that would be September, October 1965. So that'd be 6.
Right.
I missed the first episode of Thunderbirds. That's the sad truth.
Wow.
I got home just in time to see the grill of Fab One right at the end, and then the globe. Right at the very end. That's all I saw. But that was enough. I thought, I'm going to like this series as well.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm not going to miss any more. From now on, I'm going to draw and so the second episode, I sat and I drew the characters, as you can see, as puppets. I didn't draw them as people. I drew them as puppets. And I think it's pretty good for a 6-year-old, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the shape of the hat. That was the hardest thing.
Right.
The one on Alan looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
And Jeff's eyebrows are pretty good. And Brains, of course, with his pens in his pocket. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've even got the buttons on his coat.
Yeah.
So obviously that's Virgil, isn't it, up there?
Yeah.
So you can see who they're supposed to be.
Absolutely.
So I was quite pleased with that. That's one example of I was drawing every day.
Was this a way of capturing these characters between times while you waited for the next episode?
Yeah, because the only other way you could do things was by reading TV21. And if you were lucky, there'd be 1 or 2 photos in that.
Yeah.
And at the time, it wasn't even in TV21. It wasn't until January '66
Right.
that Thunderbirds began. So there was no other way.
Yeah.
That was it.
It's funny, we have a lot of viewers and listeners, we call them podsterons, of course we do. And they have their own Facebook group, of course they do. And they post pictures of their cosplay and their models and a lot of art.
Really.
Is there something in the fact, recreating it makes you part of it? Is that the joy of it, do you think?
I think it was for me. It probably is, because everyone talked about it. In those days, it was a new thing and it was exciting. So it was like, it wasn't a niche thing or a cult thing. It was everyone was talking about it. Even the adults loved Thunderbirds. You know? And so it was something that you said, yeah, remember this? This was on. You know, this is what we like this, don't we? You know, so you're part of it. You're part of the thing that's on the TV, but you're part of it in a general way with all your friends and neighbours and relatives and everyone. It was a big deal in 1965. You know,
so
amazing. It was one thing I've just noticed about that though is I've made them all the same height, and I think they did. The puppets were the same height, weren't they? Apart from one or two exceptions.
I think so.
And I wonder why I noticed that.
An eye for detail at such a young age. There you go. Talking of an eye for detail, let's have a look at you in action. This is a little video of you bringing life to, well, one of our most famous comic book characters, Dennis the Menace.
Yes, that's him. Yeah.
Let's have a look at this.
So here I am drawing Dennis the Menace. Now I use different pens for different aspects of it, like a big thick pen for the big thick eyebrow and a fine pen for the finer details. But there aren't many finer details in Dennis. And here I'm drawing a little bit more there. I'm going to come to the exciting bit in a minute where I do his hair. You're going to love this. Big fat hand for this. Look at that. Best job in comics. Now I always do this at home with a pencil first, just rough out what I'm going to do, and then I do the black line. And then I hand it out to my colourist, Nika, who does all the colouring. But because she's in Greece today, hooray, I'm going to be doing the colouring for you. And this is how I colour when she's not here. There you go, bit of red for Dennis. I'm even going to show you a little bit of a trick we learned years ago in the very poor printing quality days, where we had to use dots and lines and things to get different shades. So you take the orange pen and we just do very fine lines. There you go. Brilliant. That's not even my cup of tea.
It's all lies.
Yeah.
It's for the picture, isn't it?
That's
all for the picture.
Is, yeah. That's what it is.
We have lots of guests on the podcast who've worked on Gerry Anderson's shows, and one question I ask them is always how much part of that lineage and responsibility do they feel, particularly actors who've done like audio productions, modern day audio productions of old 5.1 XL5s, Stingrays. How much? Now, looking at you working on Dennis the Menace, what does that feel like?
Well, yeah, that's true. You do realise that you're just one in a long line. There's going to be people after me. And there were people before me.
There's a thought, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's quite a responsibility in a way.
Yeah.
You have to make sure it's a bit like what it used to be.
Yeah.
You have to hand it over in good shape at the end of it, and you have to make sure nothing goes wrong while you're doing it. You're on tenterhooks all the time.
And how much of yourself could you bring to such a well-established character?
There's always something you bring.
Yeah?
I think the thing I mainly bring to it is a lot of facial expressions.
Yeah.
Because even though I might not have a lot of facial expressions when I'm talking to you, I'm thinking them.
Okay. Yes, I can imagine. Yeah.
So I like to do a new expression every week at Dennis.
Right.
And I've drawn them a long time. So it's a lot of new expressions I've invented.
Wow. Now, what's the process then? Talking as a layman, how does it happen? Do you get the story? Do you get the dialogue and then you draw to that?
Generally speaking, yeah. With Dennis, that's what happens.
Right.
We have a writer, Nigel Parkinson, who's a great writer. He's also a cartoonist, so he sends his scripts in the form of a cartoon script.
Perfect.
You know? And
Great.
then so that takes a lot of that. I wonder how I'm going to draw this picture out of it. And I usually just copy the way he's laid it out, but obviously do it in a more finished way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take long to do because I know what I'm doing. I think up a new expression, I give it to Dennis.
Right.
And then sometimes it can be as quick as an hour just doing an entire page.
Yeah.
But sometimes it takes longer. Like we had one recently with an octopus holding 8 kids in its 8, and that took a little bit longer than
But
normal.
it did, yeah, quite.
And then I handed it to my colour artist, Nikki, who colours it.
Right.
And then there you go. It's all nice and smooth.
And does this leave time for other work as well?
It does.
Right.
I'm open to any office folks.
Yeah, okay. So you do commissions and so on?
Oh, yeah, I do a lot of stuff.
Right.
In fact, most weekends I'm at a Comic-Con doing one-on-one drawings.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know when this is going out, but I've got loads coming up.
Oh, go on, name them. This will be sort of early November, I think. So
I've got Olympia, Kensington Olympia in the middle of November.
Yeah.
I've got Birmingham MCM in December, end of November, early December. And I've got Sale Comic-Con in Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
In, I think, sometime in early December.
Okay.
Yeah, I've caught me on the
Yeah,
hoof
no, that's
there.
good.
And also next year I've got other stuff. So.
And do you enjoy these sort of face-to-face?
Well, do you know what? When I started doing them, I didn't want to do them because I'd done one and hated it.
Right.
And then to teach my colour artist, Nikki, a lesson.
Yeah.
Because she always wanted to go to them. And I said, no, I don't do them. She said, no, come on, let's do them. I said, no, I don't want to do them. The teacher led showed that they were horrible.
Yeah, but...
I waited until I was offered one in the worst possible place at the worst possible time.
Don't name it.
No, but it was on the northeast coast in February. And I thought, that's going to... She's from Greece, she'll hate it, you know.
Yes.
But she loved it. And then so we were then committed to do another one in Glasgow, and then we did one in... We've done 153 over the last 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
And that's, it's a lot. When you consider we took like a year out in 2020, when no one did anything, it is a lot. And I've grown to really enjoy them.
What do you enjoy about them?
Well, I particularly enjoy the money. No, I mean, I particularly enjoy the big ones because you meet a lot of people, but there's not a lot of time to sit there and think, why aren't people coming up to me?
Okay, yeah.
The big ones, it's just heads down drawing. Okay, thank you, here we go. And that's great. And when you do the big London ones, for example, like, at Olympia and at MCM XL and that, you get people coming every time.
Yeah,
so you get to know them,
Yeah,
and that's quite fun.
Yeah.
And then the evenings, hanging out with fellow cartoonists, that's always a laugh.
Yeah. What do people ask you for? Is it all Dennis the Menace? Or
well, it's... without going into the history and the machinations behind it, what I do now is I draw you as if you were in the Beano.
Got you. Perfect.
And people love that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Occasionally I do get asked to draw Dennis the Menace, and I will draw him if that's what you want, folks.
Yeah.
But I started off just doing that.
Yeah.
And we did it for free.
Right.
Because we didn't know you could charge money. And then we realised, who's paying for all this paper and the pens? And who's paying for us to travel to
That's right. Stay over. And
so eventually we better ask for a little bit of money. And other people were asking for 50 quid. And we thought, well, we'll ask for a bit, but not that much.
Yeah.
We're a great bargain. So, yeah.
Amazing. Now, in this Space 1999 lunchbox, we have some questions from our viewers and listeners.
Okay, let's see. Do your worst, folks.
Do you want to read them out? If I hand them to you?
No, I think you are better at reading them out. It was more of a challenge to me to come up with an answer.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's take a handful for this week, and then I'll leave some for next week.
Okay.
How's that? So, let's have a look. Okay, Jonathan Westall says, hi, Nigel. Which Gerry Anderson series would you like to include Dennis the Menace in for a one-off script, and why?
Now then. Do you know, I think he'd be very good in The Protectors.
That was not what I was expecting you to say.
But when you think about it, you know, why not?
Well, why, is what I would say.
All that spy intrigue in 22 minutes. That's nice and compact.
He's a disruptor, isn't he, Dennis?
Well, this is it. You see,
what he does best,
you need protecting from him, wouldn't you?
I love that. That's hilarious. John Stock says, hi, Nigel. I haven't read the Beano for ages, but had a look now that you're on the podcast. Yeah, all right. Do you do other artistic work other than in comics?
Yes. I'll do anything anyone asks me.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I work 7 days a week at comics or at Comic Cons. So I don't have a lot of free time. But if someone wants something doing, I don't draw for the sake of it. You know, I don't have paintings.
Yeah.
what do they call, landscapes in the attic or anything.
Oh, right.
I don't have an attic.
No.
But you know, I generally draw comics.
We haven't yet spoken about your journey to the Beano and how that happened, really, and how you ended up mentoring Dennis the Menace and other characters as well along the way.
John,
Yeah, exactly.
I,
So how did that come about?
well, my ambition really as a kid was to draw the Bash Street Kids. I thought this would be the ultimate thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've done that many times. In fact, for a long while, I was actually the official Bash Street Kids guy. But another story.
Yeah.
How I got into the Beano was, for 17 years, I asked.
Right.
Once a year, every year, I asked the editor, "Can I be in the Beano, please?" And he'd say, "Oh, you're not quite ready yet, you know." And I'd draw Dennis and the character, and he'd go, "Yeah, the characters are good, but Dennis isn't quite right." It went on and on and on and on like that for 17 years. And I was doing other stuff. I was doing, as you'll see later, I was doing other stuff. And one day, someone was ill, and so they said, "Can you fill in on this thing?" It wasn't even Dennis; it was Roger the Dodger. Mm-hmm. So I said, "Yeah, come on." So I did it, and I took my time to meticulously make it look like the guy who usually does it.
Yeah.
You know, and the next week I got another script of another character, and then the next week another. Within about 2 months, I was getting 2 or 3 scripts a week, and they tried me out on every character. And when they saw that I could draw, they call it ghost artist, when you draw like someone else.
Right.
And it used to be a very fine trick to have up your sleeve to be able to draw like anyone else, because then if they were sick or retired or died or, God forbid, took a holiday, you could fill in for them.
Yes, I see.
So I did a lot of that, and then one bright and happy day, they gave me a job to draw every Beano character in a little 64-page booklet. And having done that, within a couple of weeks, I got to do my first Dennis.
I was going to say, surely that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, eventually it was.
Yeah.
And then they said, "Oh, it's just to help out, do a Dennis." Okay. I said, "Well, I've done the Dennis.
Yeah.
You know, I've done the cover of the Beano and the lead story." And then a few months later, I did another one. And then a few months later, another one. Within about 2 years, I was drawing maybe, of the 52 a year, I was drawing maybe 30 of them. And then by about 2006, I was drawing all of them.
Yeah.
And then eventually in 2012, I was asked to be the official guy.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, yeah, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And there we are.
It's an incredible story, isn't it? I mean, are you aware of just how ridiculously improbable it all is and how you ended up doing exactly what you wanted to do?
About 5 or 6 times a year, I think to myself, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Because I did try and get there, but not in any way that you could say, well, here's how you tried it and read it. It's just sheer willpower.
Yeah, amazing.
That's all it was.
That's funny. Okay, another question here from Willow Lambden Smith. Hi, Nigel. Great to see you on the podcast. My question is, who is your favourite character from Anderson that you've drawn and why?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I think my favourite character that I've drawn was Commander Shaw.
Oh.
From Stingray, because you could make him really irascible.
Yeah.
And I like drawing irascible.
Okay.
As you
it's
can
character,
tell.
isn't it? It's,
he really is a character.
Yeah.
Marina is just like, she only has one expression, and I like expressions.
Yeah, I see.
Troy, he has a stern look and a smiley look, and that's about it. But Commander Shaw, you can imagine him getting really cross about something. I enjoy drawing him.
Interesting. Yeah, I like that. And finally for now, Steve Bushell says, hi, Nigel, lovely work. You say you've been drawing for 44 years. You must have started as a toddler, says Steve, who's being very flattering. Which was the first work you did that earned your money? And when did you realise you could make a living out of drawing cartooning? Thanks from Steve, who can't draw for toffee, he says.
Well, don't draw for toffee. I draw for money. It's a different thing. We have a different system.
Yeah, we covered that.
We kind of have, I just wanted to do it.
I'd like to pick up his last point there. You can't draw for toffee.
Yeah.
Now, can anyone be an artist? Can anyone draw halfway decently? Can you teach it?
I don't know. When I was 5 and I first went to school, I'd just started drawing Thunderbirds because it had just come on. It was September, October 1965, school year had just begun. And I just assumed everyone was drawing Thunderbirds at school.
Right.
And I said, come on, everybody, let's draw Thunderbirds.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
opened his eyes. 4 or 5 people did it. The rest were, I can't. I said, what do you mean you can't draw? So it took me till I was 5. How stupid am I? Until I realised that not everyone either wanted to draw, could draw,
Yeah.
or liked to draw.
Yeah.
And I think everyone can draw, but whether they want to and whether they like it depends on how the reaction to them drawing. And as you were saying, the doors being shut, it's usually parents, school teachers, they're
Yeah.
the people who usually shut you down when you want to do something.
Yeah.
And I did go through a phase when I was about 15 of thinking, well, I don't think I can draw. I don't think it's possible, you know. And so I didn't draw for about a year. And then I thought, well, what else am I going to do?
Yeah, there is that.
So I thought, I better get back to it. So I started to draw again. So I don't know whether everyone can draw, but I think everyone should have a go.
Yeah, that's right. And if it brings you pleasure, it doesn't matter about the quality, really,
You see,
does
the
it?
thing is, whatever you draw, you personally, that's your drawing. And no one can say if it's right or wrong because it's what you've done, not what anyone else has done.
Here we are at the Moxie Hotel. You must have noticed downstairs the Thunderbirds homages.
Yes, I was just saying before, the old rocket ship thing, very, very appropriate
What do you think of
place
that?
to do.
It's good, isn't it?
I love it because, you know, the only thing I know about Slough is Mars bars and Thunderbirds. That's it.
That is really all you need to
I
know,
think
to
so.
be fair. Now, last week we answered some questions from our viewers and listeners. We took a look at you at work drawing Dennis the Menace as well. This week we're going to talk a little bit more about your Anderson involvement.
I thought there was a reason I was actually back.
Because I know that you've got both feet in the Anderson world, really, and I'd love to know how that came about. But in the meantime, I asked you for your favourite Anderson moment, I believe. So let's have a look at this and see what you
It's going to
chose.
surprise you, folks.
Ah, it's Christmas.
Yes. That's so fun. Come on, phones, you can do it. Almost a smile.
Almost a smile, yes. I mean, utterly charming.
Yes.
And so skillful as well.
Yeah, well, this is why I chose it, you see, because the big problem with particularly the Supermarionation is they don't walk.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
How do you, that's why they're in cars
Yeah.
and whatever.
Wheelchairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But there we saw them skating. What a brilliant idea, because that really worked well.
Yeah.
And I love the, Troy and Atlanta were doing the pirouetting and all that. That really worked well.
Yeah.
And I think, Christine and Wanda and all them must have been really thrilled
Absolutely.
with the way that works out,
Yeah.
because it was a lovely moment. And the thing about Stingray, which I especially liked, was the 60s was an era of the soap opera. Coronation Street was on. Peyton Place was the big deal in the mid-60s, an American import with Ryan O'Neill and all that. And it was all the drama of people's lives. And with Stingray, we kind of got a little bit of a mini soap opera feel.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And so it really fitted in with that feel of TV in those days. So that was why I chose it, because it was a lovely, warm feeling. A Christmas episode, obviously.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing it on TV one Christmas.
Really? Yeah, incredible. I mean, all the Gerry Anderson social medias accounts, they share that every Christmas, as you can
great,
imagine, because
yeah.
it's just perfect. Did you keep pace with Gerry's shows as you
Oh, yeah.
grew up, or was there a time when you kind of dipped out because you went to, whatever?
Well, I mean, from Fireball onwards, everything we waited with bated breath. For
Yeah,
everything new.
right.
Stingray, we couldn't wait for it.
Yeah.
And then we thought they'll never top this.
Yeah.
And then Thunderbirds came along. I thought, what is happening? Up in Granada land, where I lived, Thunderbirds was shown in 2 parts. Before the news and after the news. So you had a little break for 50 minutes where you could run around the garden and excitedly recreate Thunderbirds.
Yeah, that would
And
work.
it was very good.
Yeah.
Because 50 minutes is too long for a 6-year-old.
Sure.
So that was great. And then, but the anticipation for Captain Scarlet was out of this world. Because we all just felt this, because we saw the pictures and we thought, well, these puppets look more real.
Yeah.
So that was the one that was the most anticipated.
Uh-huh.
And then Joe 90 there wasn't so much of an anticipation because, well, it's a little boy, It's not,
Interesting.
And it's a housekeeper and an old guy, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then Secret Service, well, don't get me started.
No, go on.
We saw it because it was on one of the few regions that showed it was Granada.
Yeah.
And Stanley Elman was a favourite.
Yeah.
He was like a well-known character. But it was like, why have they done this? Let's either have real people or let's have puppets. That was the thought.
Yeah.
And so I kind of thought, well, let's see what happens next. What happened next was UFO. And
Yes.
Come on, that's on the money. That's
Yes.
nice. But then I stopped.
Yeah. For Space
I
1999, of all things.
I never saw Space 1999.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why not? Just because you...
I think I was too old for it.
Yeah.
Because when did it come out? 73, was it?
Oh, later, I think, yeah.
Was it? Well, I was 14, 15.
Yeah.
I had other interests.
Yeah. Can't think what they might
Readers.
be. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Now, last week we looked at you creating Dennis the Menace.
Yep.
This week we're going to talk about your involvement in the worlds of Anderson and how that came about. Let's have a look at some first,
Oh,
and then
okay.
perhaps we'll have a chat about it
all right.
as we see them. So I've got a little,
go on.
a brief kind of montagey thing here of
Very
some of your
professional,
work.
this.
So here we are with the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, that was a Thunderbirds I did. I was particularly pleased with it because that was a good Thunderbird 3 liftoff there.
Yeah.
That Stingray one, I remember finished in the office in Tavistock Square in London. See, now there's a good expression there. For
Yeah,
us,
good
I'm
expression.
Sure.
So we're just going to loop through these
Yeah.
two. So if you want to talk about how
This one here with the Thunderbirds one,
Yeah.
this thing in space.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I think Alan Fennell wrote it, or he sent me the script anyway. And the idea was that I wanted it to look like it had come from Thunderbirds. And if you remember the things like the Crab Logger and
Yeah.
the Sidewinder,
Yeah.
these were like bizarre, huge
Yeah.
creations. So I'm just going to make a
Got you.
bizarre-looking thing.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I did it like that with the
With
arms.
the arms,
and all
yes, I
that.
see
thought,
now, that's
I'm
right.
going to make it a Thunderbirds thing.
Yeah.
The only problem was, for some reason, the powers that be at the TV station, who was it? I think it was Carlton at the time, who were in
Right.
charge of Thunderbirds and that. Didn't like the way I drew Scott and Alan in that page, so they got Keith Page to redraw them.
Oh, on this picture?
Yes,
Ah.
and I had to pay Keith Page.
Oh, that must have hurt.
It really did.
Wow. God, how strange.
I've never forgiven him.
No.
But I think I got a nice feel. That's good Thunderbird 5. I was
Yeah.
doing my best attempt at a Frank Bellamy, Mike Noble, Ron Embleton kind of feel.
Yeah.
That Thunderbirds one is great, but the Stingray one with the ghost ship.
Yes.
When Alan phoned me up and said he wanted me to do that, I said, I can't believe you asked me to do that. That's my favourite episode.
Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely, it must be.
I love it.
Yeah.
And so I was thrilled to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And so, literally, these things come through a phone call, do they? Generally?
In those days, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing was, I was in, what is it called, Forbidden Planet?
Yeah.
A shop in London.
Yeah.
And I was in there one day, and I was picked up the latest SIG, which was a Gerry Anderson fan mag back in the day.
Yeah.
And I always looked at the latest news, and it said Thunderbirds is coming back on TV, and Fleetway Publications are going to bring out a comic with Alan Fennell the editor, and a fellow who wrote half of Stingray, Thunderbirds, Fireball, and was the editor of TV21, and Lookin', by the way. And he's going to edit, and it's being done by Fleetway. And I thought, well, if I got on the tube now, Northern Line, I could. It was at what's that?
Tottenham Court Road or something, wasn't it?
No, it was up Morningston Crescent.
Oh, I
it was
see.
in those days.
Right, yeah.
I can be there in 10 minutes. So I went up there. I didn't have anything prepared. I'd just read about it.
Yeah.
And I just went into the office and I said, "Can I speak to Alan Fennell?" And the receptionist said, "He's busy, but I'll ask him." And I heard him shout, "I'm busy. What are you doing? Putting someone?" I said, "Someone here to see you." Oh God! So he came out to see me. So I can only give you 5 minutes, Nigel. He said, "That's my impression of it."
Very good.
And I said, "That's all I need, Alan." He said, "All right, come on in then." So we sat there. An hour and a half later, when he showed me out, it was with the promise of work.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
What a day. We just connected. We had a great time. And I think he saw what I could do. It was great.
So you mentioned that they weren't so keen on your sculpt.
Yeah.
Now, when you're drawing something like Thunderbirds and Stingray, are you drawing the puppets, or are you drawing them as humans, or are you asked to present them in a particular way?
There was no directive, but I do remember from my childhood in TV21, various artists did different approaches to it.
Yes.
Like Frank Bellamy would very much be drawing the puppets.
Yeah.
But Mike Noble would be drawing them as people.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I don't know which way to do it then.
Yeah.
So I would try and get a halfway house kind of thing. I think it was just Carlton didn't like it.
Yeah.
They had an idea in their head. But then later on, because Alan put out so many comics, because then Stingray came out and then Captain Scarlet, and it was all go.
Yeah.
He used so many different artists. Some of them weren't really up to the job, in my opinion.
Right, yeah.
You know, obviously people like Steve Kite can do no wrong. And, you know, there's loads of them who are very good. I'm sorry I've forgotten all your names, but you're great.
Trust me.
But I thought I was reasonably good.
Yeah.
But there was just this feeling that they should look like the puppets, but also be real people. And not everyone got the balance right.
No, tricky.
And obviously for that one I didn't. But then the Stingray one, they let go, you know.
Yeah.
So.
But of course, you know, when you're drawing these characters, you have certain license to make them do things that they couldn't do as puppets. Certainly,
Well, that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Is you can take them places they could never go as puppets.
Yeah.
But there was a feeling because I think there was my feeling at the time was that the people watching Thunderbirds and Stingray in the 90s were generally a younger generation than had watched it in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so they expected a slightly less advanced way of doing things.
Right.
That's just a feeling I had.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because, you know, as you get older, you think everyone below you doesn't understand things.
That's right.
So, but that's the feeling I got.
Yeah.
You know? So I was trying to make it a little more kid-friendly and a little less sci-fi fan-friendly, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, let's dive back into the lunchbox and take out the last few questions from our viewers and listeners.
I'm ready.
All right. So, Jonathan Bell, what was it like working with Paul McCartney on the final print edition of the Dandy? Tell us about that.
Oh, I get asked this so frequently. Yeah, well, you know, he's from the same town as me.
Yeah.
We all know each other.
Yeah, really? Yeah.
Yeah, it was great because in 1963, folks, the Beatles were a very big act in those days. Yeah. And they did the Lifelines, which is, you know, your favourite colour, your favourite music, favourite food.
Oh, yeah.
And ambition, what's your ambition? And Paul McCartney said his ambition was to be in the Dandy. And then when I heard the Dandy was going to be closing down, I said to him, it's now or never. Sir Paul, he was Sir Paul by then.
Yeah.
And through friends and colleagues and acquaintances, and we got word to him really quickly, and he got back to me immediately, within hours of me getting out the invitation. And he said, yeah, go ahead. And I said, well, I'll draw it, we'll write it, I'll draw it, and I'll send it to you for approval. He said, no, don't worry about that, just do it. And we didn't sign a contract, we didn't give him any money, he was just thrilled. The two things that I always say, which were the highlights for me, were the day it was published, he contacted me and said, "Can you send me a copy? Because I've been to our local shop and it's sold out."
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
And then about a week later, he said, "Please pass on my thanks to everyone involved." Some members of my family have seen it and say, "It's the best thing I've ever had my name associated with."
Fantastic.
So
wow.
that was nice.
What an honour. That's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And by all accounts, he was over the moon with that. And it did seem quite literally, it was a dream come true for him.
It really was, yeah.
That's amazing. We have a question from Rich Goodborn. Hi, Nigel. If there was one Gerry Anderson show that you could bring back in comic book form, which would it be? I'm guessing it wouldn't be Space 1999.
Well, I've never seen it. I did actually do some stuff for Space Precinct. Which is interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think I just think it'd be nice to draw Simone Bendix, because I don't think she gets enough in the comics. They didn't use her enough.
No.
But I don't know. I think Fireball is great, to be honest. But they're all good.
Yeah.
Really, I always come back to Thunderbirds because there's such a richness. The cast is so full. There's so many opportunities to do things. I mean, we can do things like, what does John do when he's up there by himself? We could have him going crazy. We'd have him seeing UFOs. There's all sorts of great things
that you couldn't do in the show.
Exactly.
That's right.
And I think that would be nice to. What does Gordon do when he's alone in Thunderbirds for all the fish? Does he ever? Does he get a little bit?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Anyone?
Yeah, please. Great. Alex Patrick says, "What is it about Thunderbirds that makes it stand out in your mind?"
Well, I think the old story about when Lou Grade was watching it. He said, "This isn't a TV show. This is a movie." Mm-hmm. It was a movie.
Every week.
To a 5-year-old, it was every week we're going to see a movie.
Yeah.
And the excitement. I've got to say, Barry Gray deserves a lot of credit for the instant appeal of these TV shows, and particularly Thunderbirds, because when you dive into it at the beginning, you get the countdown, and then you get that montage of what's coming up. Yeah. It is thrilling.
Yeah.
And then you calm down a little bit when you get the portraits of the people, and then you're into the story.
Yeah.
And it's just, those 2 minutes were just the most exciting of the week.
Yeah. Now, how are comics doing? I mean, the world is changing, as we know, technology and AI and print is, we're told, dying.
We don't mention the AI. The thing is, funny enough, I just heard this morning that the Beano is selling more this year than it did last year.
Right.
In print form.
Right.
So that's nice. Keep doing that, folks. Keep buying it.
That's right.
I don't know. When I was a kid, and probably when you were a kid, there were lots of comics about.
Yeah.
You're spoiled for choice.
Oh, absolutely.
And now there's like 2 or 3. So, I mean, like proper comics.
Yeah.
There's always TV tie-in things with plastic gifts and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about dedicated comics. So obviously the market is a lot smaller. But the Beano seems to keep going. And I'm not taking any personal credit, don't get me wrong. But, I'm very glad and happy to be part of helping it to keep going. You know? But, one of my ambition was to be in comics. There was a whole raft of them. You go to any newsagent, there'd be, I don't know, 20 or 30 of them. And you could have a different one every day for a month if you wanted.
Absolutely right, yeah, that's right. Now, Beano.com, I think, is the website, because, of course, the Beano isn't just the comic anymore.
Oh, no, we've got more than that.
And do you get involved with that side of things as well?
I have been, yes. And the TV show, the Dennis and Asher and
Right, yes.
But we mainly get involved when they ask us to, rather than with the Beano every week. We know we're going to be involved because that's our gig,
Yeah.
But with the other things, they might ask us to be involved for some reason why they might need a new way of looking at something, so we come up with that. But there's just so much to do. It seems like, well, it comes out on a Wednesday, so that's that.
Yeah.
But Beano.com is 24 hours a day if you want it.
Yeah. Right.
So
extraordinary.
There's a lot of work involved.
So you've mentioned a few dates coming up where we can come and see you.
Yes.
What about your online presence? Can you tell us about where you are on X or Facebook or websites? Or...
I'm on all of those things.
Yeah.
I don't know what my name is on them, but if you look for my name,
Yeah.
you'll find me.
Yeah.
Beano Cartoonist is a good one.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a blog which I must update one day because it's not, 2015 anymore, is it?
No, that's right.
And that's Nigel Parkinson Cartoons. Sometimes there's some nice stuff on that. I usually put a list of dates that I'm doing on
Yeah.
that. But, do come and see me and ask me anything you want to know. Sometimes I'm sitting next to someone like Lee Sullivan.
Oh, no.
You'll
What, all
know.
day?
It can be 3 days.
Oh,
if it's a big
God.
show.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Just before we go, let's have a look at something that never made publication. Let's have a look at Captain Scarlet in all his glory, shall we?
Let's do that.
So, what was this all about?
Well, when Alan Fennell was doing the Thunderbirds and then Stingray and then Captain Scott and then Joe 90 comics, he was very busy because he wasn't given the staff. He had an art editor and that was it.
Yeah.
And so he said to me, if you fancy doing a cover, just send one in. So I did a cover for Captain Scott and I did a cover for Joe 90, which was used.
Right.
The reason this wasn't used was, I found out later,
Yeah.
because he's holding a gun. And they didn't want to have a gun on the cover.
But as he does in the series.
And as I pointed out, clearly the whole thing about Captain Scott is guns. and
Yeah,
death.
yeah. Right.
But for some reason, and I thought it was okay. I thought I did a fairly good job on
Yeah.
it. But it was never used. And then about 2 weeks after that, they cancelled the comic anyway. So it was never
Right.
going to, even if it had a blurb over his gun, it wasn't going to be used. So
sure.
There you go. It's a shame.
Now, what happens to work like that? Have you got the original? Have you got reams of work?
I do have reams of work.
Yeah.
I've drawn about 35,000 pages since 1980, and I've got probably half of them I've got. That particular one I don't have, but I do have a huge inkjet copy of it, which someone made for me.
Nice.
I broke my foot and couldn't go down to, where was it? I think it might have been in London, or it could have been somewhere else.
Yeah.
Well, Alan was giving the artwork back. So I never got any of my Thunderbirds, Stingray or Captain Scarlet or Joe 90 artwork back. So if you see it out there,
Yeah. Pass it on.
yeah, well,
Yeah. Great. Nigel, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure to talk about your life and career.
Well, career as in hurtling aimlessly rather than a job. Yeah.
But what's in the future? What's in store then? Just more Dennis Menace and more...
Well, when I was a kid, we had a comic called TV21, and it's set under adventure in the 21st century.
Nice.
And I think, let's have some adventure in the 21st century. Let's find out, let's see what it brings us. I'm presumably doing Dennis next week. No, I am. I've got a script.
Yep.
And I'm doing Comic-Cons, and who knows what might happen.
Yeah. Great. Thanks so much for joining us, Nigel Parkinson.
Thank you.
Thank you.